My name is Talia, aka Tata H, and I am a single mother of a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I am a college graduate. One of the things that I definitely want to talk about is how I was able to accomplish a few good things in my life, which is graduating. But to get there was a great thing. However, I stemmed from a very dark past, and that dark past was being in a very violent relationship. I am a survivor of domestic violence. With my children, I stayed in a home that wasn't appropriate, wasn't where I should have been, and it caused a lot of problems in my life. So one day I decided that enough was enough. I had enough of it. And I knew I wanted to go back to school. I knew I wanted to leave not only my deadbeat guy, my deadbeat relationship, but also my job. I wanted to go, I wanted to move forward. And I knew that in order for me to do that and to prosper, I can start with something as simple as going to school. I knew I had to do it for my girls, but not even for them, but for myself. There was no room for growth. Every job that I tried to apply for, you had to have some type of background in school. My experience wasn't good enough. So I really had to think, do I spend my energy looking for jobs where I know I'm not going to get, or do I go back to that collegiate experience? And could I do it? Could I do it being a single mom? Could I do it with two girls that are highly active in sports and theater and music? How would I have time to do this? Can it be done? I always had that fear that I couldn't accomplish anything. My abusive relationship broke me down so much that I didn't have confidence. And partly when I was denied, I was so defensive. I knew in my mind that the way I set it up, I was going to make it, but I couldn't think beyond that because I wasn't confident. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could do it at all. There was no one cheerleading for me because I didn't speak about what I wanted to do to anyone. I was so sheltered that there was nobody rooting for me. So I was literally doing this in the inside of my head and no one knew. So when I entered Cal State, I entered going to be a sheriff. I was going to be this great lawyer one day, and I was going to work in the prisons and change the world. But something came over me. I knew that I didn't want to do that. That was just something just to pacify, to pay the bills. I thought long and hard, and I said, I want to do something that I could pay the bills, but I'm really going to want to do. So when I filled that form out, I was really, really excited because I knew that I was making yet another awesome decision, and there was no one there hovering around me saying I couldn't do it or I wasn't good enough for that program, because that's where a lot of the abuse was. It was a lot of verbal abuse. So I always had this thing in the back of my mind that I couldn't do something because I was programmed to say that I was not able to. So when I went home, I was really solid and felt really good about that decision because I knew the program that was being offered. I knew the classes. I knew some of the professors already because I have gone to all these informations about this program. So I knew that come fall, my life was going to change. I knew it was going to be a beginning to something that was going to be totally cool for me, totally cool for the girls, and I was going to be doing something I was compassionate about. My self-esteem was still very low. I was still working on myself. I doubted the decision to go back to school because I was struggling paying some of my bills and looking at the fees for school, books and food and childcare, that upon returning to school, I knew I had to go get some type of public service. So I had to walk down to the public service, or what we call the welfare office. Going there, I wasn't confident at all. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed because I felt like I was being selfish by going to school and not finding a job to take care of my family. And when you get there, it's just like the energy there is so low. There's no one happy there. People are irritated. They've been sitting there for hours. I sat there for 3 hours to talk to someone for them to only tell me to come back tomorrow when I know I needed services today. The experience for me was tragic because I have been self-sufficient for so many years, and to have to ask someone for assistance, especially welfare and food stamps, it did something to me. It drove me into a deeper depression, and my first quarter of school was difficult because I wasn't working and I wasn't eligible for certain loans and things of those natures, and I did not know how to work the system to benefit me at the time. So having to deal with that and going down there, and I just felt some kind of way. I didn't feel like a good mom. I didn't feel like I was doing anything. Despite the fact that I had gotten into school, it was a matter of I have to go to use food stamps to pay for food, and I had never experienced that before. And despite of all the barriers that I went through, the welfare, the abuse, the low self-esteem, and the depression, I pushed through it. I was able to get a double bachelor's, and that's pretty hard by itself, but I did it, and it's done. Looking at this, it's like a trophy to me because several years ago, I was sitting on the bed lonely, and I didn't know what to do. And now that I'm here, I'm holding my trophy. I'm holding my degrees. I'm holding through all the drama and everything else that I'm going through. I'm holding my diplomas, my bachelor's. I'm holding something really special, something that I can take with me for an eternity. So I'm happy to be looking at this and sharing it, because a lot of people want to be in my shoes and they don't realize it's just as easy as putting on your own shoes and just walking your own path. And that's it. That's simple. That's simple.
Skip the introduction, part an interruption, blowing up combustion, building myself up like I'm constructing, yeah. Biggest thing that you ever seen, have you ever seen a young nip getting knowledge like I'm from the tree? Gotta make it out of college before 23, cause I'm grinding like I'm wearing